Welcome to the Exploring New England podcast with Ryan Zipp, where each week I will be talking about what makes this historic region such an amazing place to enjoy. From the scenic views to road trip ideas to where to grab the best eats and much more. Let's get going. Hello everyone, and welcome to the debut episode of Exploring New England, a brand new podcast with me, Ryan Zipp, that will be up every Thursday. Video format, as you see here, will be on YouTube, and the audio version will be on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, and everywhere else that you most likely enjoy podcasts already. So the podcast is going to be kind of featuring all things New England, revolving around trip ideas, places to go, what's going on certain times of the year, where to stay, where to eat, grab the best coffee, and also have a photographic aspect to it, since that's what I am. I am a photographer, but also through photography, it's made me travel around a lot more, and being based out of New England, it's a great region to just have targets to go to on day trips, overnights, weekends, or longer stays if you can. So yeah, it's something that I've wanted to do for a handful of years now, but it's one of those things that you just keep thinking about the idea, and the longer you let it go without actually making it happen. So finally I've decided to just jump in, and here we are. So I hope you guys will tune in with me every Thursday as we go through this and kind of grow together and see where it goes. I'm really excited for it, and it's the first podcasting I've ever done. So learning on the fly a bit, and taking what I know a little bit about photography, videography, and we'll see what we can put together. So I'm definitely excited. I figured this first episode would kind of be a bit of an intro to just let everybody know a bit about what the podcast is going to be about. And it is definitely a work in progress, so it could change, and we'll see what happens with it. It will feature me and possibly guests as we go along the way, if they fit into the vibe we have going. And then I also figured today I can give a little background to who I am. I'm sure many of the people watching this debut episode know of me through my Instagram, social media, via my photography and my travels around New England and beyond. So you guys, most of you probably already know who I am, but I figure I'll give a little background that maybe you guys don't know about me or the whole story as well. So so let's get going. So again, my name is Ryan Zipp. I am a photographer based out of Connecticut. I've been born and raised in the state of Connecticut. For the last 3 years, I've lived in the town of Guilford. Super charming coastal town here. A lot of historic aspects. We have the oldest house in Connecticut and the oldest stone house in all New England, I believe. Really cool town green. Awesome businesses, a few churches. So it's definitely a great spot to be based out of. And before this, I lived in Brantford, which is a town right next door, another awesome coastal town. Between those two, it's where I spend a lot of time for like my local sunsets, or just kind of cruising around, get a coffee and just sit in my car, relax by the water type vibes. So I'm definitely lucky to have that. And then a lot of those same vibes are what I try to find around the rest of New England throughout the year. And I do it with a camera in my hand, or sometimes the conditions don't work out for the best photos, but at least I'm still at all these amazing locations, and coming across some of the coolest restaurants you'll find. I always like to find the best independent coffee shop where to hit up in the morning. I'm a big iced mocha fan. So so it's all these other little things that come with it, and I'm forever grateful that photography has kind of led me to get into this more and and travel with purpose, and it just keeps me busy and occupied, and yeah, it's something I'm truly passionate about and I love doing. And in doing so, I feel like I've, been able to maybe inspire others to pick up a camera, or, not realize just how beautiful your local town or state might be. Because myself included, a lot of times we take it for granted what is kind of right here and right nearby within your own town, or, a 30-40 minute drive. A lot of times we focus on these further away vacations that are more, just seem like more of a big thing. And we always aim to, have these epic trips. But there's just so much we could do in our own region. I assume a lot of you guys are from somewhere in New England. Obviously, I welcome everybody from all over who just either travels here or used to live here, which I think is awesome. A lot of people that follow me move for whatever reason, and they say following my page kind of gives them, a little taste of what they missed from living back here, or wherever that might have been in New England. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going to aim to do. And then, we'll just kind of go along as the months go, like what is going on either right now or a little bit before, so you guys can take some of that and maybe make some plans for some trips of your own. And yeah, so that's kind of the gist of what the vibe of the show is going to be about. And again, it's going to encompass a lot of different things, and it may be different one week to the next. And I didn't want to just do like a real technical photography podcast off the bat, because I know a lot of my followers don't do photography at all, or maybe they love taking photos with their iPhone, and then some obviously to the next the next steps with having a camera or just being super into it. So definitely we'll touch on places and ideas that will allow people who are using their phone or cameras be able to maybe pick up little tips, and also spots, and where's the best spot to go for sunset in this town, or good sunrise spots, or just really cool areas you could get some scenic walks in. And yeah, so it's fun. It's been a great thing for me the last, I don't know, probably say the last 5 years. I've really this has really become my main creative passion, traveling with my camera. And before that, I guess digging a little more into like who I am and what I come from, my main creative passion was music. I played in bands for 20 years pretty much, since middle school, early high school, and then all the way through probably 2018-ish is when I kind of stopped playing music, and had been doing photography. So at that point, it kind of just took over for it, and yeah, it just kind of grew from there. You could see, I think the kick drum head in the back was from the last band I was in, Beach Avenue, lifelong drummer. So yeah, so that was just what took all of my creative focus for all those years, and that was great. So this has kind of stepped in and become that for me, and I was always the creative, business-minded guy in the band besides playing drums. So I've taken that and adapted it to this, and I really love just coming up with ideas, and love planning out these trips, and having Google Maps open, and just figuring out the best routes and where I want to stop. And yeah, so it's kind of from doing the booking for bands to planning out trips. I guess I've always kind of had those same things about me that I enjoyed doing. So that was what I really was into for so long. But before that, I've been exposed to photography and travel and nature since I was born, through my dad, Jim. He has been a professional wildlife photographer since before I was born. So I was born early 80s. I forget exactly when he got started with that, but he's always had that passion as well. So, I'm grateful that had that in my blood, and also was just able to, from a young age, just travel around with him. And when I was old enough, he would hand me a camera, like a legit camera of his with slide film in it, and I was able to take my own photos, and I thought it was the coolest thing. So we'd go out to like Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, California, Colorado, everything in between, Florida. So I definitely had that early on, and obviously it was a little different than it is now. You take the photos and then you have to wait a little bit to get them back. So definitely come from that. I started photography from a little bit the older technology, I guess you can call it. But I also took photography in high school, so learned how to develop prints, which I thought was really neat too. And then when I got to kind of high school age, that's when music took over and became my thing, and what I was just crazy about and wanted to do. And how I actually got back to photography was through my band Beach Avenue. We were trying to do more video content, YouTube content videos. So at the time, that's when people started using DSLRs for video around then. So I picked up a Canon Rebel T3i at the time and got it to do videos for us. And then was just like, cool, I have like a digital camera now. And obviously always loving photography kind of got me back into that, and just started messing around, snapping pictures with it, and going out and shooting like hawks and owls and wildlife, but then kind of picking up scenics too. And that was probably in 2013-ish, something like that. Yeah. So then kept playing music and just, dabbling with photography around Connecticut, not really traveling much out of state with it. So, and the band was kind of getting busier, doing a lot of stuff. And we were actually, we got found by a scout online via one of these YouTube videos that I bought the first camera with. And we were on America's Got Talent. And that was in 2014, which was really cool. So that's where, my focus was at the time. And at that same time, I actually, with my guitar player, Nick Abraham, we hit up a few. Where do we do? We did Joshua Tree National Park, I think, on that trip. Some Florida coast. I mean, not Florida, California coast. And yeah, so I did some photography out there. Kind of was like the first time I messed around shooting the Milky Way. Wasn't very good at it, but that's kind of so I started dabbling in some photography trips out that way while I was still playing music. And then singer and my best friend Nick Fradiani, he then was asked to try out for American Idol right after we were on America's Got Talent. So he ended up doing that, and ended up winning the whole thing, which was nuts. So myself and other Nick were still able to play with him. Kind of was all over the place, touring all over. And that was pretty nuts. And we did that, pretty solid till 2017, 2018. And then, and then I kind of got away from music a bit then. Nick Abraham has since become a music teacher, got married. He has a little boy. And Nick Fradiani, other Nick, he's on Broadway currently, got into doing musical theater. So everyone's doing awesome and just kind of, doing their own things now. And that's kind of when I started taking the photography thing more seriously and traveling more all over New England. So planning trips to Vermont. I did a bunch there, the early ones, coastal Maine. So those two are early on were some of my favorites, and they still are to this day. Trips to the White Mountains. So would and then meet some other photographers throughout this from Connecticut. Started doing some trips together. So it basically became like this music thing that I was doing with like-minded people, and then now it was doing photography, and then finding other people that, if the vibes meshed well, we'd kind of meet up and shoot here or shoot there or head out on a weekend together. So that kind of became my thing, and it just increased from there over the years. And here we are, beginning of 2024, and it's been awesome to be able to grow a following on Instagram and just have people from New England and all over just following along with me on all my trips, and just letting me know how, maybe it inspired them to pick up a camera for the first time, or inspired them to hop in the car and just take a day trip, and or obviously overnight or further, but just realizing that they can get to these places, and there's awesome scenes to be had everywhere, whether it's right down the road from you, or it's just a few hour drive away. Which is one of the things I love about New England, is there's so many places that are just 1 to 3 hours away, that are just, you have mountains, you have coastal, we have these cool islands, Block Island, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, obviously some smaller ones up in last year I got to Monhegan Island in Maine for the first time. So there's just all these places that are just so unique to me, and just so New England, not to sound corny, but so yeah, it's kind of grabbed me, and it's just become like the vibe that I really love, and I just love capturing it and sharing it with everybody. So that's kind of how I'm feeling about this podcast, and I just hope that we could use it as a way to communicate, with each other. People can let me know if there's places they'd love to hear something about, or ideas. I'm always open, and it's just going to be a nonstop kind of chain. So right now, this is mid to late March where we're at. So there's not much going on. It was another bit of a dud of a winter, unfortunately, here in New England, which is a bummer, because as most of us photographers, we love going around and capturing these beautiful winter scenes, and there was just limited opportunities for it this year. Luckily, I got up to Woodstock, Vermont, perfect timing, and that worked out great. So I got some great shots there, and a few other local ones in Connecticut, but it was another rough year. So now we're kind of moving on to spring vibes, and we're seeing those with some warmer temps, and now we kind of get into chasing the blooms around, with the daffodils are the first to really be the main event. So that's something that they're already starting to pop. I know typically that's like April, what April's all about. So I'm going to talk a little bit about in future episodes, places for that, and just again give you ideas of where you can go at any given month, or time frame that we're looking at, and then we go on from there. Other examples, we have the lupin that are in June usually in a number of areas. The White Mountains and Sugar Hill is obviously one of the most iconic, to a handful of coastal Maine areas that are big with them. And then after that, we move on to the hydrangea, which are more of the coastal vibes, Chatham, obviously the islands again. So yeah, there's always things to kind of plan for and look forward to, which is what I love. I'm very mission oriented. And then summer in New England is just such an amazing time, kind of no matter where you are, but obviously all the coastal areas, Cape Cod, it's just kind of hard to go wrong. So I'll just be talking about a lot of those areas that have really captured me and made me go back to over and over again, to just enjoy the same spots and find new ones. And then obviously fall in New England is one of the most iconic, and people come from not only all over the country but all over the world here in fall. So that is just content galore, and there's just a nonstop collection of things we could talk about for fall as well before we get back into the holidays, and which is really cool. Every year in December I try to get to different spots that I haven't been to before. Every town and region in New England kind of has their traditions and their own unique way of celebrating the holidays. So that's been fun to really experience that and try to capture photos and now video in all those places. So yeah, so that's kind of a bit of a synopsis of it and what the show is going to be all about. Show, podcast, guess whatever we want to call it. But the YouTube channel as well, Exploring New England. It's going to feature not only the podcast, but also videos from places I go all over New England. I'm going to try to create some more video content, a little longer than the Instagram Reels and kind of the shorter aspect of like the Instagram, TikTok. I hope to do some longer form videos for everybody to kind of give you ideas of where to go. Actually, not long after filming this, I'm going to be heading up to Portland, Maine. Definitely a favorite city of mine in New England. Be going up there for a few things, and it'll actually be St. Patty's weekend. I think they have a parade there on Sunday, so it'll be interesting to kind of check that out, walk around a bit. And that area, there's a number of lighthouses and other great coastal spots too. And as you'll find out, I'm a big lobster roll guy, so that kind of got me going on highlighting food around New England. I also have a page and a separate thing called Deliciously New England. Got going with it, and then kind of let off a bit. Just a lot going on, but that will be revived again now with all this. So again, always bringing in the food, where to grab a drink, where to grab a coffee, and just talk about all things New England. So I'm excited to launch this and see where it goes, and I'd love to have people again message me, email me any ideas of what they'd like to see, or if you have any questions, I'd love to help you out if you're trying to plan something. So it's going to be an exciting year, and I'm looking forward to it. And so I think we'll keep this first one kind of short and sweet, and then the next episode, I believe I'm going to talk a bit about some good off-season ideas of where to go before spring kicks in. It's just a good time to get to a lot of coastal spots where one, they might just be super pricey to stay at when you get into later spring, summer months, and you can go stay there in like now and before spring kicks in for like half of the price or whatever discounts they might have going on, and have the same views. You might just have a few more layers on, but and also get to a lot of beaches that in those warmer months they're just crazy packed, or you have to pay to get in, you can't find a parking spot, where this upcoming time of year there's no problem. So I'm going to talk a bit about some ideas there and places I like to go that are good no matter what time of year. And another exciting thing that's happening in early April, parts of New England, you're going to be able to see the total solar eclipse. That's Monday, April 8th, I believe. Yeah. So be going up like the Adirondacks and into a chunk of northern Vermont, into the tip of New Hampshire, like Great North Woods, and then into inland Maine a bit. So I'll be heading up to northern Vermont area for that. So just crossing fingers for clear skies for a few hours. Hopefully Mother Nature lets us, because who knows when the next one will be here in New England. Who knows if I'll still be around. So that's so I'll talk just a little bit about that in the next episode, and kind of what I'm doing to plan for that and where I'm going to head for it. So and then we'll just kind of go from there. And like I said before about the different blooms with like daffodils kicking things off, there's just a lot of great towns that do like daffodil festivals, and so there's things that aren't far off to get you going. And I kind of want to highlight things a little before they're happening, so you guys can maybe plan and whether booking hotels or again just doing some day trips out. So so I'll try to keep you filled with ideas of things to do for the whole year, basically, whenever you'd want to do it. And even if you're not going to travel, just kind of tune in and kind of see what I've been up to, and where I might be headed next, and what else is going on. So yeah, so I think that's it. I think we'll end it there. And I actually have to pack right now for Portland. So be getting all my camera gear together and seeing what else I need, checking the weather, seeing how cold it's going to be. It'll most likely rain since it's rained pretty much every weekend for the last couple years. And yeah, so again, if you don't know who I am, I'm Ryan Zipp. And the podcast is called Exploring New England. And that's also the name of the YouTube channel. So check back every Thursday. We'll be putting it out. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to kind of you guys coming on this journey with me. So until next week, hope you guys have a good week. And we'll see you soon.